Okay, today we're going to look at SQLs. In the previous video, I looked at how to sort a database. Just to run that very quickly for you, just to recall what happened in the last video. If you clicked on SQLs and you click on sort, you'll see your actual table is sorted in alphabetical order. Now we're going to write another SQL just to refresh your memory, going back to my data module. And in the last video, we brought in an addo query 1 and we brought in a data source 2. So if you haven't watched the previous video, I recommend that you watch the video on SQL sort. So returning to my form SQL, we're now going to program the button called sum rating. So in the previous video, we wrote SQLs that sorted the database. So I'm going to copy that code and place it in here, and then I'm going to edit that code. You'll notice that our SQL needs to change. So we want to say, and this time we're going to use a function. So I'm going to say we have a field called rating. We're going to find the highest rating. So the SQL will be max, and in brackets rating, and we would state we need to give it an alias to store the value as maximum. So we say select the max rating as maximum from the table name movie names TB. So that is our SQL. And now we will add the SQL to the query, and then we will open that, we will execute it. And we can take out this code because we actually want to output the value of maximum. So to be able to do that, I'm going to create a variable, and we're going to call it max of R, which is of type integer. Rating is of type integer. So we're going to say max R is assigned, calling for the query, addo query 1, dot field by name, and you'll notice that the field by name that we stored as an alias is maximum. So we'll say field by name, and we have to put that name, which is a parameter, single quotes, maximum, close the bracket, dot as, and it's of type integer, so we're going to use as integer. So the maximum rating, which is stored in an alias maximum, is now returned to a variable max R, and all we have to do now is display that using a show message box. So I'm going to use show message, and I'm going to put a message with that highest rating, and we're going to concatenate, join that to the actual variable, but we'll have to do a conversion, an integer to a string, and the variable is max R. And let's save that file, save all, Control D just to get our code aligned, and let's hope it works. So we're going to run that, and we click on SQLs. The previous SQL did a sort for us. If we click on sum rating, the highest rating here is 10. It should display that, and the highest rating is 10. You'll notice that I've also it's also displaying it in the table, maximum 10. Now let's quickly go back to the code, and you'll notice that if we go to the code, we have said that with data module 1 to begin, we closed the query, we cleared the query, then we wrote our SQL, select max rating as maximum from movie names TB, that's the name of my table, and then we added that the parameter, the SQL string, as a parameter. Then we executed that by saying open, and then we said max R is assigned addo query 1 dot field by name maximum as integer, and then we said show message highest rating into string max R. So if we run that, This time we're going to click directly on sum rating, and you'll notice it tells you the highest rating is 10. If we click on sort, then we're using the actual table, the grid as our data source, and that will change that. So there you see two examples of SQLs. So we're going to close that. Thank you.